She used to text you first. She used to light up when you walked in the room. She used to hang on every word you said. Now, she's distant, distracted, taking hours to reply to messages that used to get instant responses. You're probably thinking you need to try harder, text more, show up more, prove your worth more. You're wrong. The psychology of making someone miss you isn't about doing more. It's about understanding something most men never figure out. Missing you is created through absence, not effort. Here's what you need to understand about human psychology. We don't miss what's always available. We miss what's unpredictable, what's scarce, what creates emotional contrast in our lives. Think about it like this. Fire needs air to burn. Remove the air, the fire dies. But give it just enough space, just enough oxygen, and it burns hotter. Your presence in her life works the same way. You can't feel distance if there's no space. You can't appreciate light if there's no darkness. And you can't miss someone who never gives you the chance to feel their absence. The women who become obsessed with certain men aren't responding to the men who chase them relentlessly. They're responding to the men who create space, who disappear just long enough to be felt. This isn't about playing games. This is about understanding the fundamental psychology of desire. First, stop being emotionally predictable. Comfort never creates longing. You text her good morning every day. You respond to her messages within minutes. You're always available when she needs something. And she's pulling away. Here's the psychological truth you're missing. Every time you respond immediately, you train her brain not to wonder about you. Every time you're emotionally predictable, you remove the mystery that keeps her mind occupied. The human brain is wired to focus on unresolved tension. We think about the test we haven't taken, not the one we aced. We obsess over the person whose feelings we can't quite read, not the one who wears their heart on their sleeve. When you become emotionally predictable, you become emotionally invisible. The men who stay in women's minds are the ones who create emotional contrast, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, sometimes available, sometimes unreachable. This isn't about being cruel. It's about being human. Real humans have moods. They have priorities that shift. They have lives that don't revolve around one person. You don't become unforgettable by being constant. You become unforgettable by being missed. Next, master the art of strategic withdrawal. Attention given freely has no value. She's been taking longer to respond to your texts, so you text more. She seems less interested in your conversations. So you try harder to be interesting. You're fighting the wrong battle. Here's what's happening in her mind. When someone is always available, always eager, always there, the brain categorizes them as a resource, not a prize. Resources are used when needed and forgotten when not. Prizes are different. Prizes are thought about, pursued, valued. The psychological principle at work here is scarcity. We value what's rare. We pursue what retreats. We want what we can't have. But here's the key. Strategic withdrawal isn't about disappearing forever. It's about creating space for her to remember why she was attracted to you in the first place. When you're always there, she never gets the chance to miss your laugh, your perspective, the way you make her feel. Give her that chance. Take a step back, not out of anger or manipulation, but out of self-respect. Focus on your own life, your own goals, your own growth. Let her wonder what you're doing, who you're with, what you're thinking about. Curiosity is the beginning of obsession. Third, become emotionally self-sufficient. Neediness repels. independence attracts. You check your phone constantly, hoping she's texted. You analyze her every word for hidden meaning. You plan your day around her availability. She can feel it, and it's pushing her away. Women are biologically programmed to be attracted to strength, not physical strength necessarily, but emotional strength, the ability to be complete without them. When you need her validation, her attention, her approval to feel good about yourself, you signal weakness. And weakness in the mating game is a liability. But when you're genuinely fulfilled by your own life, when you have your own mission, your own purpose, your own source of joy, something powerful happens. You become attractive not because you need her, but because you don't. This creates what psychologists call approach anxiety in reverse. Instead of you being nervous about approaching her, she becomes nervous about losing you. The men who women become obsessed with aren't the ones who make them the center of their universe. They're the ones who have their own universe that she wants to be part of. Build that universe. Create a life so fulfilling that her presence is a bonus, not a necessity. When she realizes she's not essential to your happiness, she'll work to become essential to your happiness. Fourth, control the emotional temperature. Hot and cold creates more heat than constant warmth. You give her the same energy every day, the same level of attention, the same emotional temperature, and she's getting bored. Here's a truth about human psychology that most people refuse to accept. We don't value consistency in relationships the way we think we do. We value emotional range. Think about the most memorable people in your life. Were they the ones who were exactly the same every day? Or were they the ones who surprised you, who challenged you, who kept you guessing? Emotional variability creates what neuroscientists call intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle that makes gambling addictive. You never know when the reward is coming. So your brain stays alert, engaged, hoping. When you're always warm, always available, always positive, you become background noise. Predictable, safe, boring. But when you vary your emotional temperature, when you're sometimes intense and sometimes cool, sometimes fully present and sometimes distracted by your own world, you create psychological tension. And tension, resolved and unresolved, is what keeps people thinking about you. This doesn't mean being unstable or cruel. It means being human, having good days and challenging days, being passionate about your goals sometimes and focused inward other times. Let her experience the full range of who you are, not just the version of you that's trying to win her approval. Finally, make your absence felt. Your value is measured by what changes when you're gone. You spend every weekend with her. You're always her plus one. You're constantly in her orbit. And she's starting to take you for granted. Here's the harsh reality. If nothing changes when you're gone, then nothing changes when you're there either. Your absence needs to create a void, a noticeable shift in her energy, her mood, her experience of life. This means you need to be someone worth missing, someone who brings something unique to every interaction, someone whose perspective, humor, energy, or presence actually matters. But it also means you need to strategically create opportunities for that absence to be felt. Stop being available for every social event. Develop interests and friendships that exist outside of her world. Take trips. Pursue goals. Build a life that's genuinely compelling. When she's with her friends and realizes you would have said something funny about the situation, she's missing you. When she's facing a decision and wishes she could get your perspective. She's missing you. When she's having an experience and thinks about how much more fun it would be if you were there, she's missing you. But none of this happens if you're always there. Your presence needs to be a gift, not a given. Something she looks forward to, not something she expects. Make your absence felt by making your presence matter. Here's the truth most men never understand. You don't create obsession by proving your worth. You create it by being worth missing. You don't make someone think about you by thinking about them constantly. You make them think about you by giving them space to realize how different life feels without you. You don't win someone's heart by making them the center of your universe. You win their heart by creating a universe they want to orbit. The psychology of missing someone isn't complicated. We miss what's unpredictable, what's scarce, what creates contrast in our emotional experience. Stop trying to be everything she needs all the time. Start being someone she realizes she can't stop thinking about. Be the man she never fully figured out, the one who had his own mission, his own world, his own emotional depth that she only got glimpses of. Be the space between the notes that makes the music beautiful. Be missed, because the men who are never forgotten aren't the ones who never left. They're the ones who knew when to step back and let their absence speak louder than their presence ever could. That's the psychology of making her miss you, not through effort, through understanding, not through proving yourself, through being yourself. And sometimes, being yourself means being somewhere else.